In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiori.
The time has come again. A champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me.
Hello, dimwits. Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, and mine is the DYM podcast. My name is Andrew Fiori, and with me, as always, is my co-host, coming to you from what looks like his brand new studio. Not studio apartment, but studio as in new apartment.
New apartment. No, not a studio.
Not a studio apartment.
New studio. Yes. Hello, Dimwit Nation. I am now in Astoria, New York, and I'm doing this. I'm recording from my my very own office / podcast studio in the new apartment. It's a pretty sweet deal.
Well, congratulations, my friend. How are you liking the new digs?
I'm loving it. I still have some stuff to put away. I have no internet right now. I don't have internet until the 18th. So I just explained to Andy before we started. I'm recording using my phone as like a Wi-Fi source, which is, I don't know if that's wonky or not, or that's a weird idea, but yeah, it's good. I had a desk that my friend who lived here before, a friend of mine is the one who gave me this apartment, and I had a desk that I was going to move by the window to make it nicer, and the minute I moved the desk, one of the legs fell off the desk.
Did he bait and switch you?
No, he didn't bait and switch me. He just left. I think he just left kind of an old desk. I didn't realize how old it was.
Gotcha.
So now I have this like half. I knocked off one of the other legs. I have this half broken desk in my living room that I have to figure out. But overall, you know what it is, man? It's like you've been at your place for a while. I remember I was in my last place for like I was in my last place for like 3 years. You forget when you first move into a spot, there is kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I don't think I'm sleeping amazingly yet. I'm kind of walking around like not knowing exactly where I am.
You're not used to it.
Like,
you're not used to your forever home.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like an adopted puppy, Andy. That's what's happening right now. It's true. Like it's really, really kind of a strange feeling, but it's awesome. You've lived alone for a while because you're more of an adult than me, but I finally have my own place. That's another weird thing where I was like, wow, I'd never not lived with anybody before, and I didn't realize how strange it would seem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it can be a little weird, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes it can get a little lonely, but what you usually come back to is that, yeah, I'd still rather do this than share my space with another 40-year-old man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes. Right. Yeah. I'm done. We're both like about the same age. Like I'm just done with that part of my.
I mean, you're older than me.
I am older than you. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks for really rubbing it in. I appreciate that. But but Andy, also big news is hanging with the lady. We don't have
hanging
to give
with
details.
the lady. Doing good. I was actually I haven't seen her in a little while. I did a stand-up show headlined at Tiff's Comedy Club out in my hometown, right next to it. It's considered a hometown. It's a little borough of my hometown in Mars Plains, New Jersey. Great turnout. I want to thank everybody that came. We sold it out. It was super fun. Thanks to Mike Romanelli. Not only is he a really cool guy, he's a big fish head. So we got along famously musically.
Oh God, yeah.
But they make a nice rib there, Shawnee. I gave him your name. I told him you got to have Donnelly come out and you'll love it. It's a fun crowd and a great outdoor setup. Super safe, and man, they make some good eats to go along with it, buddy.
Is it a barbecue spot?
Yeah, it's like a rib house / restaurant, like.
No!
Their specialty is ribs.
No, now I want to go.
Dude, I passed on your information, so hopefully he reaches out.
Thanks, man. So the show is packed, huh?
close gig. You take an hour by train from Penn Station to Morristown, New Jersey. So good comedy, good eats, friendly stay. Everybody was great, man. I can't speak highly of it enough. So thanks, Mike Romanelli and the gang at Tiff's. Some funny comics, and it was nice to. It's you as a comic, you have that thing where you're like anticipating ahead of time when you do these hometown shows. You're like, nah, I kind of just wish I could do my normal set to strangers, and nobody will judge me afterwards because I have to go and live and see with these people immediately after the show. And my mom's there. And my sister's there, her new boyfriend is there, and so that's just a little extra added pressure, You're doing 45 minutes. A lot of it's newer kind of COVID stuff. It's hard to test the waters on that stuff because you're not doing it every night. But it all went great. We had a great turnout, and so that was a really fun Saturday night. So
let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever had somebody come up to you after a show that somebody that you knew come up to you and say something uncomfortable after a set?
Yeah. I've had people give me advice that weren't comedians that I knew, that I think because of our relationship, they felt that it was okay to just give unmitigated kind of, hey man, I think maybe you should shorten that or do this. Like that didn't really hit well. You're just like, yeah, and you know me, I'm too nice to be confrontational. So it's like, maybe I'll think about it. Maybe, I'll rework it. But yeah, it's just, listen, we know what we're doing. I don't need, just go, hey man, thanks, we had a good time. If you had a good time, if not, you don't need to say anything at all.
I think that's where, and this is actually a good word of advice for anybody listening. That's what you guys don't realize. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to say, like, comics,
totally.
Especially when we've been doing it a while. Like, if your friend's doing comedy and it's their first couple shows and you think they have some potential and you want to be supportive, then say something nice to them. But you don't have to go up to a random comic and say some backhanded weird shit. Because here's the thing, we're not. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We almost, I'd say 9 times out of 10, we don't respect what your opinion is on it. Like, we don't.
100%. 10 times out of 10.
That's one of the hard truths about comedy is that the only thing we care about is what comics that we respect think about our comedy.
Correct.
For the most part. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying you don't want to do well. You want to do well. You absolutely want to do well. But
also, it's kind of rude.
It is kind of
just
rude.
A humane kind of manner too. And obviously it's a hack thing, but I would never go up to, maybe somebody who is, let's say, a mechanic and be like, hey, well, maybe mechanic's not the best one to pick.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, yeah.
But, it's like I don't necessarily outright criticize whatever you do for a living. And I get people feel they have the liberty to do that with stand-ups because it's such a personal thing, I guess. But
because the thing is this: I would never even take another form of performance, like music. I've never gone up to a musician and been like,
"Yeah, that's
hey,
perfect one."
That one song, I just wasn't really feeling it. But people with comics, and it's an age-old thing. It'll never go away. People just think comics are their private gestures that are there to amuse just them. That's why that's why you get heckled if you're not talking about something that somebody wants you to talk about, and because they're like, oh yeah, you're here for me to make me specifically laugh.
Right, right. And listen, I am heavily critical. I see live concerts all the time. I love it. But and I'm very highly critical of the bands I go see. But I would never go up to them afterwards and be like, yeah, I didn't love when you played that in that place, and your encore was kind of blah, but whatever. I think we lost you.
Oh, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You froze for a little bit, but I can still hear you.
Yeah, so did you. Yeah, you did too, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. But no, I haven't had too many bad experiences with people doing that. They've mostly been very nice in my experiences. What about you? Have you ever gotten a really bad one?
The only one, I don't know if I've talked about it before. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, the only one that I've talked about that was kind of a biggie, well, there was a couple different stories, and I think I told them on the podcast. One was that guy, in Pennsylvania, this guy comes up to me, and I was working with Mike Gaffney, who's a really funny comic.
I love Mike.
and Mike was opening. I was closing, and I did not do a poor job. I did a good job. It was like a bad like VFW hall kind of situation. Yeah. And this guy comes up to me afterwards, and he was like, to me, he goes to Mike, he goes, you were good, you were good. And to me, he goes, you weren't. That's what he says to me.
Come on.
Yeah. So I was so done with it at that point because I hated the setup. I thought it was going to be a real club. I didn't realize it was going to be like this because it had the name of like a real club. And
easy to check out.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, no, I'm done. I've been doing this long enough. I'm not going to put up with that. So the guy was walking away, and I looked him right in the eye. I go, hey, fuck you. I go, fuck you. I go, what the fuck you? I'm like, why did you say that? Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Whatever. And he keeps turning around, and I'm like, go ahead. I don't care. Come back. I'll fight you. I will fight you right now.
Oh, buddy.
In this. Well, I don't think I said I'll fight you. I think I was like, come back.
To resort to violence.
Come back. I think I was just like, come back, whatever it is. And then he just kept walking the elevator. I'm like, yeah, right. That's right. Like, I just got into that, like, I was frenzied. Like, I wasn't, like, as cool, calm, and collected as I am right now. And then another time, it was actually before a show, and somebody said something stupid, where I said, my face was on the poster. It was a show in Virginia. And these two people came up to me, and they go, hey, you're the guy. You're the guy. And I go, yep, I'm the guy. And they go, are you funny?
That's the worst.
Funny. And, dude, I went, and a lot of people do this at first, but I took it to like a new level. I go, no, I'm not. I'm not funny. And they go, and they kind of laugh like you just did. And then I go, I'm not kidding. I don't know what I'm doing. I've been doing this a month. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm kind of worried about it. And they go, really? And I go, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I hope it goes well. And they walked to the kiosk, they got their money back, and they walked out of the building.
That's good. One of my favorite things to do at the Comedy Cellar when I'm waiting to go on, as for those of you who don't know, the comics, it's a big long hallway in the back, and then you kind of wait in the doorway for your turn. And I love just kind of milling about in the back, and as the last guy's finishing up, I just kind of stand to somebody who was ever near the stage. I just go, I hope this next guy's good. And then I get called right up. It's just my little thing that I do. I don't know why I do it, but I always love doing it.
I've done that where I actually go the opposite route, where they're like, when they're interviewing you, they're being nice, and they're like, this next guy is so funny. And I'll look at the people nearby me, and I'll shake my head. No, I'm like, no, not at all.
Because then they have a fun little connection with you. That's our guy now.
Yeah, right, exactly. But then when I do that, I hope I don't go up and then eat it. Like, that's the thing.
Right. They're like, he was right.
Yeah, he was like, wow, he really nailed that. Why the fuck is he here right now?
I just remembered one. I guess it was one of the last gigs I did in February. I was on the road. I was doing like a one-nighter up in upstate New York somewhere, and it was a private show, and it was supposed to start at 8 p.m. And it was one of these things. It was a fundraiser show, which can always be brutal. And they're eating dinner and drinking, and it's all these people. It's like an Elks Lodge kind of thing. Very nice kind of setup though. And they have all these pictures of their ex-presidents on the wall. So I started opening up with, John Pfefferhorner. He was my favorite back in '64.
Right.
And they eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
And
when you do like inside baseball type stuff.
But the thing was, I was up there with our buddy Justin Smith, actually, former guest of the pod. And he was opening, I was closing, and they had started so late, dude. I just go, dude, you do whatever. I do a half hour. I'll do maybe a little more. He did like 25, and I did like 35 just to get to like an hour because they kept us waiting, dude. And they were like, oh, we're going to do the raffle now. And like all the information that we had gotten from the booker was like, you guys are going to go on like after dinner and after dessert. And then but yeah, which is also not ideal. And then they're going to do a raffle after if you guys want, like hang around to make fun of the raffle. I go, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I'm not a fucking raffle clown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate
that. So
they
ended up doing that before us. Things got pushed back. They go, we'll do dinner, then we'll do the raffle, then we'll do coffee and dessert. Then we weren't on till like 9:30 p.m., dude. And so whatever. The show itself was okay, but then I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
Afterward, but the lady afterwards, she comes and she has to go. She goes, I loved it. I just am disappointed you didn't do some more time. I went, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Did you
kept me waiting. I could have been home by now. By the time you kept waiting.
Did you explain to her that's not how it works?
Yeah, dude. I'm here making not a lot of money for you people. I did 35 fucking minutes. I'm out of here. That 10 minutes might not mean a lot to you, but it's for some reason, it's a principle thing I have. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also because it makes the show better. So it's like
exactly. You don't need another hour and a half of sitting around and like just trust me on that. Like we know what we're doing. It's not because I'm lazy. I don't want to do the time. It's just I know better, and also I am lazy and I didn't want to do the time.
Well, it's also you leave them wanting more. Like that is a real thing. Like if you go too long, if you would have done like an hour. And then you get 25, and after all that, you would have seen people milling out. Like you would have seen people like walking out of the place, like because they had to go home for the babysitter, or they had to do whatever.
Yeah, and not only that, Elks Lodge people, you're not your spring chickens anymore. They tend to err on the elder side of society.
Yeah.
That one got me. I was like fuming the whole drive home. I was going, that fucking bitch. Does she have the nerve to come up and say disappointed because I thought you were going to do more time? I go, I guess thank you, but fuck off.
I did a show upstate once where the lady who was producing it, I was closing it out, and the lady who was producing it, like the lady who's there to contact there was a comic that was producing the show, like she was setting it up.
Yeah.
But the lady that was like the main contact at the venue, because it was like they made it sound like it was going to be this great setup for stand up, like because. I don't know if people know, but stand-up is better and the most intimate you can get it. But some of these places are giant banquet halls, and you can't do that. Yeah. So they were like, oh, we're going to put the wall up, we're going to do this. And they didn't do any of it, and it was like this giant room, and people were like standing, some were sitting, some were walking around. Like people were like, it was bad. But besides that wasn't even the problem. The problem was the lady who was our contact sat right in the front, and she was heckling me.
Jesus Christ!
During the performance, and I'm like, at one point I think I said, aren't you the lady that set this up? Are you heckling me? I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, we're having fun. You know?
It doesn't, just because you had some involvement with setting up the show doesn't give you any sort of license to be a part of the show.
Exactly. Oh my God. So I don't think people realize that's what happens for us. Like we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. And we know what we're doing. And there's also like a lot of little nuanced things that a lot of people don't realize. Like a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of things that go into the night going better. Like don't get me wrong. It's on the comic to make the best out of a bad situation, or to do the best that they can do. Like I'm not going to say like, hey, if you're the wrong lighting and and nobody likes the comic, it's not the comic's fault. Like you still have to work and you have to do the job and all that kind of stuff. But why start with a handicap? Why start in
exactly?
Like a lot of people don't realize the banquet style seating, like wedding style seating, is one of the worst things for comedy because it guarantees that part
every
of the
comedy
table
club is set up that way for a reason.
Show. Yeah, exactly. So it's like if people can set it up the right way, it goes a long way.
Did I ever tell you I was doing another one-nighter? This is obviously my bread and butter, upstate New York one-nighters. I forget who was opening for me, but I had driven down from another gig, and it just worked out where I was geographically able to take this gig on my way home and make a couple of $100 extra bucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, sure. That'll work out perfectly with my schedule. And I got there, and the other guy was already on, and I talked to the person in charge. And it's always like, you can talk to Firefighter Jones. He's the guy running the stand-up.
Yeah.
It was like a firehouse fundraiser. And they were very nice, but what you were talking about, those little subtle things where it was just a two-man show. So the guy who was going up in front of me is now going to introduce me. So he goes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring your headliner up. You've seen him on
in the biz, that's called piggybacking. If you don't know that.
The old piggybacking.
The old piggybacking.
And as soon as he goes, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Andy Fiori. This lady walks out from the kitchen with a big tray of bread. She goes, and also dessert is served. Like in between his intro and me walking up to the stage.
Talk about, in what brain is that a good thing to, like, what?
It's because I want to give her the benefit of the doubt and saying she just is ignorant to how that's supposed to work. Like,
No.
this will be fun that we can eat dessert and watch the comedy, but it's like, I need all your focus up here. I can't have a fucking a soccer riot start out for the fudge brownies. You know what I mean?
I think you could tell a 5-year-old. You could ask the 5-year-old,
I know, maybe I'm giving people too much credit.
should we serve dessert during this man's performance? And even though the 5-year-old would want the dessert, because the kids love dessert, they'd go, no, that's rude. I think there are a lot of, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just plain rude to do that.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry, but on what planet is that a thing that you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense?
Grandma brain.
It's not a radio. You're not in the background. You're not a band playing.
It's always it's never a good thing to see you're getting outdrawn by brownies.
Yeah, exactly. And and also brownies will win almost every time.
Every time. I almost went myself.
Oh my God, dude, that's what you should have done.
If I had any balls, I would have gotten in line for the brownies.
Oh my
God. Action there.
Dude, if that ever happens again, you gotta go for the dessert. Be like, hey, we're gonna start late. I didn't know there was dessert. I had no idea there was dessert. That's funny.
So funny enough, we brought up puppy adoption in the beginning of the show. While I was out in New Jersey, I stayed a few extra days with my mom, keep her company. And I was sitting around on Monday afternoon, and my mom comes in. I was doing a little bit of work. She goes, hey, so I made an appointment a couple weeks ago for St. Hubert's, which is a adoption agency in my hometown.
Yeah.
He goes, it was supposed to be on Friday. They had a cancellation. Would you want to go with me and maybe look at some dogs this afternoon?
Oh, my God. Talk about a magical afternoon.
No. So my mom and me, my mom came home with a brand new little puppy dog.
No way.
Yeah. So my mom's
What kind of dog? Is it mutt?
It's, we think a lab chihuahua mix.
Whoa, how does that work out?
She's only 10 weeks old. My mom named her Lulu. And so we think she's not going to get too much bigger because she's got the body of a chihuahua, but she's got the features and face of a lab, a yellow lab.
Oh, weird. So it looks like a really tiny lab.
Yeah, kind of, which I think my mom wants. So, she's
made her own,
very sweet.
Your mom made her own designer dog.
Yeah, but then I was talking to the lady. She goes, "Oh, my friends have a black lab chihuahua mix called Pepper." And I go, "All right, maybe this is more common than I thought."
What would you call it? A chai lab? What would you call it? A chai-bador?
Labawawa?
Labawawa. Be like, this is Pixie, my Labawawa.
Yeah, these combinations are getting ridiculous with the dogs nowadays.
Well, they have a bunch of them. They have, you ever see the ones, what are the ones that, like, they look like literal stuffed animals walking around? Like, it's almost, like, they don't look like dogs. They look like Pixar made them.
Yeah, the Wheaten Terriers are very popular for the Labradoodles.
Yeah, the Wheaten Terriers are just a terrier.
Well, the Labradoodle is the most
it.
popular mix right now.
Yeah.
I see them all over because I guess it's a very smart dog, but also the personality of the lab. But I don't love that look, I'll be honest.
The Labradoodles Labradoodles are hypoallergenic too, I think.
Hypoallergenic, that's a big thing, sure. But I'll tell you, Mr. Quint, named after the Robert Shaw character in Jaws, who ruled the roost at Marianne Fiori's house.
Oh, so what happens now?
He is not thrilled with this new puppy running around.
Yeah, that happens.
And I hope they eventually get along because the puppy is yapping at him. She just wants to play with the cat. And the cat is going, you got all my girl's time here. She's paying attention to you. I'm not getting the snuggle time. I can't walk around the house freely. And he is pissed, dude.
The cat is how old, though?
He's about 8.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I know, dude. He had it good, too. And here's the thing. My mom is still house training the dog, so it's relegated to the kitchen only. You know, she's got the gates up. And I'm telling you, so we think this dog came from South Carolina. This little motherfucker has already figured out how to hop over the gates. He climbs up and gets right over the gates. So my mom had to order these 6-foot tall ones so there's no more prison breaks. You know,
She's installing doors into the
yeah. This little one, she's very sweet, but you can tell she's headstrong. You know, you can tell the personalities right away. But
yeah, that's Chihuahuas. Chihuahuas are like very feisty.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, man, it's hard to go to those adoption places because they have a lot of the older dogs there. And we walked through, and I saw this one guy, Petey. He was not older. I think he was about 4 years old. And he came right up to me, and we had an instant connection. And I just kind of put my hand out for him to sniff the back of mine. He gave me a nice little lick, and I went, "Oh, buddy, if I could take you home right now, I would." It's heartbreaking, some of those dogs in there, man.
Can you have dogs in your apartment?
I can't have cats or dogs.
Oh, that's right.
I would have gotten a dog a while ago because I am such a big dog person. I love cats too. We've had one my entire life. We've had one of each.
I have kind of a funny one time. So when the dog from when I was growing up died, me and my dad, we went to it's like probably like maybe it was not right after. It was like probably a year later. Me and my dad went to a place called North Shore Animal League in Long Island.
Sure.
It's like pretty well known. And the people that work at those places are like used car salesmen. Like they have a noble reason. They're trying to get rid of the old models. They're trying to get rid of these dogs. And I get it, but it's so funny because we were walking around and we've seen the old dogs. And my dad he stops by one of the cages, and the dog is going, losing his mind at my dad, like snarling, the teeth are open, like all this crazy. And my dad's like, Jesus, like he jumped. He was like, what the hell? And the guy comes over, or the lady comes over and goes, looks like he likes you. Look at And my dad goes, what are you kidding me? He wants me for lunch. What are you joking? It was like insane. Like I'm not even scared of dogs, and I was like, thank God that dog's in the cage. I'm not scared of dogs at all. And I was like, that dog would murder. It was like Cujo style. That's insane, hilarious. Yeah, like Brad Pitt's dog in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That kind of shit.
Right? They do used carsman realtor talk. You know, you go, why is this dog? Well, he's a fixer upper. You know,
it's cozy. It's a Maltese, very cozy dog.
But best of luck. Best of luck to my mom. I hope I tried to tell her. I
like how you said best of luck to your mom on the podcast.
Well, best
of luck, Marianne. Maybe I'll talk to you soon.
I sent it out into the ether for good karma. Because here's the thing.
That's great.
Well, Shawnee, she went in wanting an older, housebroken, more trained dog because you know she just wants a little companionship. It's
easier.
It's been a few years since we've had our last dog, the golden retriever. So we had a little bit of a competition with this other couple that was coming in to look at the dogs. We saw there was a brother and a sister with our little Lulu, and we were getting shown around by our counselor, dog counselor, whatever they call him. And he goes, so let's go. We'll take Lulu into one of the private rooms. You can get to know her. And the other guy comes up. He goes, oh, this is the male and the female. They just came up from South Carolina. They're brother and sister. And this older guy, he goes, oh, we would love to see the female. And the other guy, and our guy goes, well, we're going to let these people take her first because they were here, first. And the guy goes,
oh, you won the face off.
Well, here's the thing. So, and this guy, he was right, but he goes, well, what time was your appointment? Because we were in the lobby together. And the lady who was at the front desk, she goes to this couple, she goes, what time is your appointment for? He goes, 3:00. She goes, okay, we'll get somebody out right away. And she goes, and ma'am, what time is your appointment for? We were 3:30. But we were at the dog cage. We got shown in first just because our guy came and took us back, and we decided to see this dog. So he was in the process of kind of taking her out. And he goes, well, our appointment was for 3:30, or our appointment was 3:00. I go, buddy, we're in the process of taking the dog out. So I just kind of cut him out. I go, yeah, we were here first. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we got the dog. So I felt kind of badly because I don't think he really meant anything by it. But, people can kind of get a little competitive when they see a puppy they might like.
Yeah, but it's like just because – and it's also a thing where just because their appointment was first doesn't mean they have dibs on any of the dogs.
Yeah, exactly. I go, we were here at this cage ready to take her into one.
He was going by like appointment rules. You were going by like parking lot rules.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was taking it to the streets. I was ready to fight this old dude.
No, I meant because like if you get a spot, you're like, I was here first I was at the actual, like it doesn't matter who drives into the parking lot first. Whoever gets that spot
That's
first.
what I'm talking about, baby. So, but in the end, my mom went completely opposite of what she wanted. She got a puppy, not housebroken, not trained at all. When she went in looking for an older dog, housebroken, completely trained. So,
but how old? The dog's what? Like how old?
10 weeks. That's why I say good luck to my mom because I don't think she remembers how much work a puppy is. It needs constant attention.
It's tough. It's really tough.
You need to wear them out so they sleep, and you got to keep an eye on them because they're going to piss and shit all over the place if you don't really get on top of it right away.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
I will
the only thing I worry about with my mom. I just go, Ma, I hope you know you do have the time on your hands, but it's going to be a lot of work. But it always pays off, but it is tough.
It will keep her busy though.
Absolutely. Dog slept through the night, though. I spent one night with them, and then I talked to my mom earlier today, and the dog, once it gets in her little crate, she yaps for about 10 minutes, thinking, hey, where'd everybody go? But once lights are out, my mom said she slept right through the night both times. So that's a good
dream.
Sign. Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's a dream come true.
But already had a few accidents in the kitchen, but that's why hardwood floors.
Yeah, but that's going to happen. That if she's so good with the sleeping, you would think she's good at listening. So learning how to be house trained is, So wait, so was the dog's name Lulu already, or you guys named it?
No, they came as Cowgirl, and we went, well, we're going to change that immediately.
It's so much fun to go look at puppies.
Yeah, it was so great, but some of those older dogs, poor Petey, man, I loved him. I had an instant connection. You know when you can sense it? And I would have taken him home with me.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but selfishly, I go, well, this is kind of best of both worlds for me. I can kind of go and play with the puppy, and then I can just kind of leave and not have to deal with any of the other bullshit. You know what I mean? When I visit my mom.
Yeah, that's true.
So... and I don't feel bad. What? I'm sorry. I was going to say.
No, go ahead.
I don't feel bad about visiting my mom because I got a negative COVID test, baby.
All right.
I'm in the clear.
The kid's in the clear.
I felt okay, but I wanted to get the rapid test. I'll be traveling to Rhode Island this weekend for Labor Day weekend, and I wanted to make everybody I'm traveling with feel at ease. So we thought we'd do the prudent thing and get a test. And I'm sitting in the examining room, and the nurse comes in. She goes, all right, I'm going to give you the nasal swab. And, all I've heard is the nightmare stories about how this thing's going halfway up into your brain.
I've gotten them before. It sucks.
And I'm not good with that stuff. Nobody really likes it, but I think I'm extra.
Either am I. I'm not good either.
Yeah, I'm a squirmer. So she goes, oh, I'm very gentle. Don't worry. So I take a big breath, and she does the one nostril. She does the other side. And I go, well, that wasn't that bad. She goes, all right, I'll be back with your results in about 20 minutes. I go, all right, great. So I'm texting Dr. Mike, my roommate from college, and I'm going, hey, this thing wasn't that bad. I don't know what everybody's complaining about, and I should know in 20 minutes. He goes, yeah, dude, you got the rapid test one. He goes, that's nothing. And I go, yeah, that's right. That makes more sense.
Wait, so what's the difference? It's not into the back of your skull like the other one?
Yeah, it's a nasal swab, and even then I was like, that is kind of deep, but it's not that bad, which shows how much of a pussy I am. He goes, no, the real one that they do, which it takes a few days, they go halfway down your throat and up your brain and out your ear.
Yeah, it's awful.
And so I go, yeah, that makes more sense. I didn't think I was going to. So I guess I got the rapid one, which they say is the actually more accurate one because then they reconfirm it at the lab a few days later. So we got the confirmation as well. So as of now, I'm in the clear. And I'll tell you, the thing I was thinking, it does just, I felt fine and I was showing no symptoms, but you do have that mental peace of mind where you just immediately go, it's just a deep breath. You just go,
oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. And I can go see my mom, and like just not really have to worry about it. And I could give her a hug, because
And here's the thing, man. Like, as long as all the precautions everybody takes actually work. Like, so wearing the masks, washing your hands, all that stuff. Here's like, the numbers are down a lot in New York.
A lot, especially in New York.
So it's one of those things where if you're doing the precautions, that's extra caution. So if the numbers are already down, where are you going to get it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so it's like, it's not that I'm saying it's like nil or none. I'm just saying that
right.
Unless you're like, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be like only the dangerous situations are where you're going to get. Like if you walk to a hospital with no mask on, you're running through the COVID, stuff like that, where it's like, where very dangerous scenarios.
Right. The only time, the one that was really worried about me was our friend Kevin Ryan Kippy's birthday. We were out and we were hugging and kissing 20 different comics on the rooftop, and I was outside and I felt okay about it at the time because I probably had a little whiskey in me. But the next day I'm going, man, I was talking to a lot of people last night. I wasn't wearing that mask at all. But the thing is, you also have to be rational about it. You go, well, none of these people are sick either. And I go, I know that's the stupid way of thinking because, it could be asymptomatic or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the impetus where I was like, all right, that was not the most responsible night we had.
This is how I thought of it. Even if I get COVID that night, the alcohol will wash it away.
Right. It probably
I think that's I think that's legit medical advice. If you're worried about just drink your face off. Just drink your face off at an Irish bar the night you get whiskey.
But I remember, I was thinking about that. Shawnee, you had a great idea. You go, we should organize another comedians night.
Yes.
Or we should order a DYM night out at our friends at Patty's out there. That was really fun, and I think people need that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And they have it outside. It's socially distanced. I mean, we could also do a thing where it's like, hey, we need proof that you're negative and you can come to the shindig.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you're home by 11 p.m. That's
That's another thing. Yeah. We were. That was a fun night.
I mean, we weren't, but the bar's closed.
Did you watch anything this week or no? I can't watch anything right now because I have no freaking internet.
Oh, buddy, that's a killer. I just realized that with my Verizon Unlimited plan, I can get Disney Plus for free for 6 months.
Oh, I'm getting that because I'm getting Fios.
Nice. So I just did that before we logged on here. So I'm gonna maybe watch The Mandalorian and explore some of the Disney Plus stuff for the things I haven't seen through that streaming service. But while I was home in Morristown, I watched Happy Happy Joy Joy, which was a documentary.
Ren and Stimpy?
Yes, it was a Ren and Stimpy documentary on John Crick-Falusi, the creator.
Was it good?
Not that great.
I had a documentary that I watched, but I want to hear about this one. But I started watching the band one that Scorsese produced, and I turned it off. I turned it off 10 minutes in.
Really?
Yeah, it was
good
just
to know.
It was Robbie Robertson being like, "How does this magic form? How do we form this magical band?" I'm like, dude,
was that
relax.
We Were Brothers?
Yeah. Did you watch it?
No, I saw it. I saw the preview.
The preview made me want to watch it.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, Scorsese produced this. All right, cool. And then I started watching it, and it was like I couldn't even take – like they did like Robbie Robertson's backstory, but it was like him narrating it himself. And it was like I don't know. I just couldn't – it took me out of it. I couldn't get into it. Maybe I'll try it again, but I wasn't into it at all.
Not a good start.
You didn't hear much about it. The Ren and Stimpy one was shitty. Ren and Stimpy I loved.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you were a fan or not. I was not the biggest fan, but I did watch it a lot. I liked it. I watched it. My friend Chris Morgan was diehard Ren and Stimpy.
I wasn't diehard, but I was into it, yeah.
He loved it, and it was, I give it credit, it was unique, and it was kind of artistically beautiful, aesthetically nice to look at, but this guy was a fucking asshole. Like,
really? Was that the point of the documentary?
Kind of. It's historic, and this is how it got started. This was the process. This was what went on. And it was funny because I learned through the documentary about a joke that The Simpsons made on their show. When, I don't know if you remember this episode, it's The Front, when Lisa and Bart write an episode of Itchy and Scratchy, but
Yeah.
they put
Which is based off, The Front is also a Woody Allen movie.
right, but they put Grandpa's name on it to have an adult's name.
Yeah, it's good.
And when they're at the award ceremony, they're doing the nominees. They go, Little Barbershop of Horrors, Abraham Simpson writes, and they go blah, 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 and it goes Ren and Stimpy, and it comes up a blank that says clip not yet ready.
Yeah.
And so I learned through the documentary.
I remember that.
He was notorious for, like, they didn't deliver episodes on time, and it delayed the show, like, by months. And so that's why I was like, oh, that's a great Simpsons jab at Ren and Stimpy, because that was just, I guess, a cartoon war at the time.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you know what's crazy about that? South Park used to do the same thing, apparently, because they wanted to get by the censor, so if they handed it in late, the censors wouldn't have time. They would let stuff through that they normally wouldn't, because they were like, we don't have time, we had to put it on the air. Because it was such a big phenomenon. But that Simpsons episode is like, it's such a good episode.
Such a great episode.
I didn't know the guy was known for being an asshole.
So apparently it was, a group of art students, and they all kind of worshipped at the church of John Kricfalusi. And he kind of took it, I think it went to his head a little bit, and he eventually got the show taken over from one of his main art directors, because he was so kind of crazy about everything has to be so right. It has to be so right. It has to be so right, that he would just rewrite and redraw episodes where people were like, you can't work like this. You have to accept other people's, you have to let other people work on the show for you. Yeah. And then it got a little bizarre in his personal life.
Oh.
Apparently there was a fan, this young lady, and I do mean young, about 16 years old.
Oh, shit.
They had kind of a letter writing correspondence. And
Yikes.
I guess he offered her like an internship, and then they began like dating. And he was like 35, 36 years old, and basically dating. It was like a Manhattan story. You know what I mean? Like,
it was like a Seinfeld situation.
And then I guess it kind of happened again, where he was dating a really younger girl, but it was just, and then like this girl has like post-traumatic stress disorder from it. Like they interviewed her. She was like, yeah, I was a kid. He was taking, like, he should have known what he was doing. I don't think any criminal charges came from it, but it was weird. And you're like, yeah, this guy just sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like, why make a documentary about him unless it's about that, to be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, and he's in the documentary, and he's like not willingly talking about it, but like, can we talk about this situation? He's like, well, what's the point? That was the thing I made a mistake in the past. I don't want to talk about it. So they bring it up, but like, he's got an ego on him, and it was also kind of boring. Like, it was an hour and a half of the same repetition. I go, all right,
that sucks.
But I did like Ren and Stimpy, and I was searching for something to watch. So other than that, that was all I took in this week. So two thumbs down for We Were Brothers and Happy Happy Joy Joy, I guess.
Yeah, man. It makes you realize, like, it's really hard to do documentaries. Like, it's documentaries, to make them entertaining and also truthful and succinct and well-rounded at the same time is a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, because honestly, I would say, what would you say the percentage of a documentary is that you just go, yeah, this is a documentary. They're kind of boring. That's why, like, when you find a good documentary, you're like, oh, it's a great documentary, because they're so few and far between. I'd
say like 70% of the ones I watch, I'm like, yeah.
Agreed.
Right.
I was putting it around there too.
Yeah, 70%, and a lot of them, I really have to. It takes me a lot to like you watch the ones that people tell you about, like when that Fed Up one came out about sugar, that was a good one, or the one that got me in, the one that started it all with me was when I was like 19. I watched Thin Blue Line, which is an Errol Morris one. The Errol Morris ones are good.
I don't know that one.
It's good. It's a guy. I think I got the guy off Jeff, one of those kind of documentaries.
I see. Well, I got a new streaming service, so hopefully I'll have some new stuff next week.
Ooh! You probably can watch like a Pixar documentary because it's a Disney Plus situation.
Oh yeah, I want to get. Everybody's been telling me Mandalorian's been great, so I might start.
It's good. It's really good. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Shawnee, I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend, and that goes to all of you out there. Stay the course, everybody. Just because it's a holiday weekend doesn't mean we're through this thing yet. So be careful with what you're doing.
Wait, but you're going to a thing.
Yeah, I was trying to get ahead of that. But we all got tested. That's why we got tested.
Okay. You got a point. That's a good point.
You know, we're doing the right.
He's like, guys, don't do anything nuts. Don't go hang out in groups.
Big groups. Don't travel. I myself am going to be with 40 other people crossing state lines.
Andy's like the worst COVID example.
I'm pretty good, actually.
But you're tested. You did get tested. That's good.
Exactly. If you're going to do that, make sure you get tested and still keep your distance. But, you know, my whole thing was don't go drinking and driving and don't doing all that stuff that I normally do. So do as I say, not as I do.
Well, have fun in Rhode Island, Andy.
Thank you, my friend. Hopefully have some stories for us next week.
Any dimwits, go see Andy. What's the address of the place that you're staying?
I don't actually know, to be honest.
I was kidding anyway. Yeah, I was joking.
But
and you can check out Andy at Andy Fiori on Twitter and Instagram if you're so inclined.
That is true, and I am also going to be opening up for Mr. Tom Papa at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut at Comics the 17th through the 19th of September. So that's in a few weeks. So that's going to be a great show. Me and Tom, he's one of the best there is out there. Very funny. So if you're in the Connecticut area, come out and say hi and bring me a meet or a Pete and check out Shawnee's stuff. You can follow him at Shawnee Time, SeanyTime, and check out his show Celebrate every Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Raw.
Oh, but they should be doing it every Thursday at 4 p.m. Raw Report would be the choice to make, I believe.
Well, you got the
same channels.
Wednesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. You should just be locked in on Channel 99.
Yeah, an hour a day. It's all it takes for you to
That's all we're asking.
Thoroughly.
And they're on demand if not.
Absolutely. All right, Andy, I'll see you next week, buddy.
Love you guys. Talk to everybody later. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.